Good morning and welcome back, gang. CJ Curry here, back with some more NBA player props over on PrizePicks. If you're new to the channel, haven't subscribed yet, get subscribed now. We passed 28,000 subs. We're on our way to 29,000. I appreciate everybody who's already smashed the subscribe button. And while you're down there clicking buttons, go ahead and hit that like button for me as well. I'm going to set today's goal at a simple 99.5 likes. So I'm looking for 100 or more likes. Do you think we can get it done? I think you and we can get it done together. Now, I want to mention, I've been away for a little bit because, it's the holidays. Been spending time with family, been taking a little time away from YouTube, but I'm back and we're dropping today's Flex Friday video where you can get a protected play over on PrizePicks. So if you're not playing on PrizePicks yet, it's a great time for you to get signed up on PrizePicks. Use promo code CJ Curry, make that first deposit. For the first $5 you play, they're going to give you $50 back, making your first entry on PrizePicks essentially a risk-free entry. So definitely take advantage of that offer if you're not already on PrizePicks. All right, so what are we looking at today on the NBA slate? It's a pretty nice little NBA slate, and we've kind of already got a lot of the injury news out of the way. So let's run through it real quick. Luka Doncic is out today for the Dallas Mavericks, which means a huge usage bump for guys like Kyrie Irving. You're probably going to see either Quentin Grimes and or Spencer Dinwiddie slide into the starting lineup. My money would be on Grimes getting the starting spot at shooting guard. Another superstar that's out today for the Phoenix Suns is Devin Booker. He is going to be out, which means Beal and Durant are going to have pretty doggone high usage, pretty doggone high ceilings, and then you'll probably see a guy like Dunn and or O'Neal slide into the starting lineup. Another star that's out is Steph Curry. He's been dealing with a knee injury. Dennis Schroeder's going to take over at point guard. You're going to probably see some guys like Brandon Pajemski come off of the bench, maybe some Gary Payton come off the bench and fill in some of those minutes that are vacated by Steph Curry being out. Ben Simmons is questionable for the Brooklyn Nets. Keon Johnson, Shake Milton would run point if Ben Simmons doesn't play. And we slide over to Boston. We got a couple of key starters that are listed as questionable. We're not sure if they're going to play or not as of now. Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, both questionable. If Drew Holiday is out, then Al Horford would probably slide into the starting lineup, which means Derek White would probably take over more of the ball handling and point guard duties. And then Kristaps Porzingis, if he ends up sitting out as well, then you'd probably have a front court duo of Horford and Kornet at center. So that's kind of what you have to look forward to. Now, Aaron Gordon, a key player and piece for this Denver Nuggets front court, is going to be out as well, which means Peyton Watson's probably going to be starting at the power forward position. Then you've got Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors, who's listed as questionable, dealing with a back injury. Jonathan Kuminga, Kyle Anderson would absorb the minutes vacated by Draymond Green if he ends up sitting. Derek Lively II for the Dallas Mavericks is listed as questionable as well. If he is out, Daniel Gafford probably slides into the starting lineup, with more minutes for Maxi Kleber in the center position. Dylan Brooks is probably close to not playing once again. He is listed as doubtful. He's been dealing with an ankle injury, which means Thompson would start in his place. And then you got Dorian Finney-Smith listed as questionable, probably more likely to be doubtful and not play, which means Clowney would continue to start in his place. And you got a number of other key role player injuries like Tari Eason, Marcus Smart, Dean Wade, Santi Aldama, Obi Toppin, Isaac Okoro, and Grayson Allen. We won't go through all those. I just wanted to hit all the ones that were green or better here and kind of give you guys the heads up on some of the injury situations to monitor as we move throughout the day and get closer to that tip-off. Now, what are we looking at over on PrizePicks? Well, there's a number of different options. I think we're going to start here with Kevin Durant at 28.5 points. I'm seeing some lovely line discrepancies here for Kevin Durant. We already mentioned Devin Booker, Grayson Allen going to be out for the Phoenix Suns, which means that Kevin Durant going up against his former teammate in Brooklyn, Kyrie Irving, who's now with the Dallas Mavericks, obviously, should have a pretty high ceiling, high usage. And 28.5 points looks a little low today when you kind of consider where he's at on some of these other sites and sports books. So let's go do that. We've got the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer pulled up here. Now, what this wonderful tool does is it goes out and scans all the different sports books in the industry. It looks at the odds, it removes the VIG, and it gives us a percentage of fair odds of a prop to hit. What are the chances of it hitting? Well, in this case, for Kevin Durant at 28.5 points, you got about a 53% chance that he goes over 28.5. And you're seeing some of the better sports books out there like Pinnacle, like FanDuel, like BetMGM, like Caesars, and more, who already have him up at 29.5 points. So I think it's just a matter of time before this goes from 28.5 up to 29 or potentially 29.5 points. So we got to take advantage of this value early on in the day. And in this case, we are getting a whole point of value on Kevin Durant's point line. So let's go take a look at some projections here for Kevin Durant. We're going to go over to RotoWire, one of my favorite tools. When we open up Kevin Durant's player projection card here, you're going to see he's projected for about 27.9 points, which is a little bit on the low side. It's right around that 28-point number. Of course, we're looking for 29 or more on these projections. But this is why you should use more than one projection model, because this projection is a little bit on the low side. But when we slide over to another one of my favorite projection sites, well, it's going to be a whole lot higher on Kevin Durant's points, 33.8 points to be exact, a huge projection versus a line of just 28.5 over on PrizePicks. So that differential is massive. And in this case, we should probably take advantage of this line being so low at 28.5. But I got one more projection that I like to look at, and this one's brought to you by Roto Grinders, who has teamed up with Shot Quality's Advanced Analytics, and they've got a projection for Kevin Durant at 33.29 points, way over 28.5. So two very strong projections here on a couple of different sites for KD. 2 out of the 3 projection sites like him to go over 28.5 points tonight. So Kevin Durant over 28.5 points looks like a solid way to start your first slip over on PrizePicks. Taking a look at the next one here, it's going to be PJ Washington of the Dallas Mavericks taking on Kevin Durant and those Phoenix Suns. He's at 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And without Luka Doncic, he's done a pretty darn good job here of going over 23.5 PRA. In fact, I brought up a little chart here. This is Outlier. You can check them out at outlier.bet. And here are the games in which PJ Washington has appeared, where Luka Doncic has sat out. This includes games with Kyrie Irving, and you can see that PJ Washington has done a really good job of going over 23.5 PRA without Luka and with Kyrie. An 86% hit rate, meaning he's gone over in 6 out of 7 games, averaging 31.86 PRA this season in games without Luka. So his usage definitely goes up, and he should play a pretty big role here in this game versus the Phoenix Suns. So really good numbers here for PJ Washington. Now, take a look at some of the sportsbook data on PJ Washington. I think you're going to find that there's a lot to like here for PJ Washington. Take a look at his PRA line. You're seeing a site like FanDuel, a book like FanDuel already has him up at 24.5 PRA. So this is going to be another one of those prime candidates, one of those player props that could eventually get bumped up from 23.5 maybe to 24, maybe to 24.5 PRA before it's all said and done here. But where it's currently sitting at 23.5 based on the odds compared on these other sports books, he's got almost a 53% chance of getting you 24 or more points, rebounds, and assists, 52.68% chance, which again isn't a 100% chance, which means there's still about a 47-48% chance that he goes under, okay, gang? But there is a little bit of an edge here, about a 2.5 to 3% edge. So let's take advantage of that. Now, let's go run some projections here on this guy, PJ Washington. And we'll go over here first and foremost on RotoWire and check out their fantastic tool. And if you want to check out the RotoWire tool for yourself, well, there's a link down in the description. Gets you a 2-day all-access free pass. Definitely check it out. This is a great tool. It supports not only PrizePicks, but it supports Underdog, Sleeper, and a plethora of different sports books. So could definitely help you out when making some player prop decisions. But as you can see, PJ Washington, as far as the lean more options, well, there's a whole bunch of them, but the top one's going to be the PRA. Looking at his projection, he is projected for 27.22 points, rebounds, and assists, which is a differential of 3.72 PRA. That's a pretty significant difference. Taking a look at his game logs, well, it's not going to tell the whole story here because a lot of the more recent games, like in his last 10, have featured Luka Doncic. And of course, Luka will not be playing today, which is why Outlier kind of helps you out by allowing you to weed out, filter out games where Luka has not played. So we've kind of already done that part. But let's take a look at some other projections for PJ Washington. For this one, we're going to go over to Fantasy Labs and take a look. 24.4 points, rebounds, and assists. So while he's still at 23.5, I like him over based on this projection at 24.4. Shot quality, the projection for PJ Washington there is another good one, 24.26. So again, 23.5 is the magic number. If it gets bumped up to 24, I'd probably still take it at 24. If it goes up to 24.5, well, then you're starting to get into scary territory. So get it while it's hot at 23.5 PRA if you can. The next play is going to come from the Denver Nuggets. Again, we're taking advantage of some of these injury situations on some of these teams. And of course, the Denver Nuggets are going to be without Aaron Gordon, which means Michael Porter Jr. is probably a prime candidate to have at least 9 rebounds and assists in his absence. Now, why do I say that? Well, because again, I've been poking around this morning on Outlier, and when we do that, we take Aaron Gordon out of the mix, and then we add in some of the key players, key contributors like Christian Brown, Nikola Jokic, Russell Westbrook. Oh, and by the way, Jamal Murray is listed as questionable. He's a game time decision, but I left Jamal Murray in there for this particular instance. But as you can see here, there's a total of 8 games without Aaron Gordon and with some of those other guys in the starting lineup. And in those 8 games, he's had at least 9 rebounds and assists in every single game in which Aaron Gordon has sat out. So he's done a really good job, averaging about 10.88 rebounds plus assists. So if you could get him at 9 rebounds and assists, you've got a chance to tie or push, but you've also got a little bit of ceiling there because he's gone over 9 rebounds and assists in 7 out of 8 games without Aaron Gordon. Now, in terms of head-to-heads, he's only played the Phoenix Suns, I think, once this season. In that one game, he did land on exactly 9 rebounds and assists. And again, this is a game where Aaron Gordon did play. So now you take Aaron Gordon out of the equation, and maybe he ends up having 9 again, but he could potentially go for 10 or 11 rebounds and assists. So this one looking really good, especially without Aaron Gordon. And that's kind of the key here. Games without Aaron Gordon, again, he's done a really solid job, averaging more than 10 rebounds and assists in those games. So how do the projections in the sports books line up on this one? That's a great question. Let's go take a look using the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. This tool kind of just goes out there, scans all these sports books, removes the juice, removes the vig, and gives you fair odds of a player prop hitting. So we're looking at the rebounds and assists for Michael Porter Jr., 51.4% chance that he has at least 9 rebounds and assists or better, which is decent. It is considered technically to be a positive expected value play or a plus EV play. Wish it was a little bit higher. Maybe it will go back up to 9.5 with how good Michael Porter Jr. has performed without Aaron Gordon. But we'll take it at 9 because you do get that push potential, push factor. So how do the projections stack up for Michael Porter Jr.? Well, you can see as far as the lean more options over on RotoWire, the top lean more play is going to be the over on his rebounds and assists, just at a good projection of 9.45 rebounds and assists. And then you kind of take a look at what he's done this season, a 79% hit rate. These are games that include Aaron Gordon, but still almost an 80% hit rate of getting you at least 9 or more rebounds and assists. So things looking pretty darn good here for Michael Porter Jr. Let's take a look at some other projections. We're going to go over to Fantasy Labs and see how Michael Porter Jr. is stacking up there. 9.1 rebounds and assists. So they got him right at 9. I really think 9's the magic number. If it goes up to 9.5, again, it gets a little more difficult because then you need at least 10 or more rebounds and assists from MPJ in that case. Going over to shot quality and taking a look at their projections, they've got Michael Porter Jr. projected for a healthier number at 10.11 rebounds and assists. So if you could get him at 9, which you should be able to for at least the time being and probably throughout the majority of the day, I think 9 is a great number, a great take here for Michael Porter Jr. All right, the last pick of today's video, we've finally reached The fourth and final pick is going to be Miles Turner of the Indiana Pacers. Miles Turner's going up against the Boston Celtics. We already talked about the Celtics being a little bit thin in their front court potentially. If Porzingis sits, well, then you would have to depend on guys like Al Horford and or Luke Cornett to kind of take some of those center minutes. And we just saw Joel Embiid kind of shoot the lights out from three-point land against Boston on Christmas Day. And so for that reason, I'm kind of liking Miles Turner over 1.5 3-point makes against Boston. He's coming off of a little bit of a down game where he only made 1 3. He's had good games against the Boston Celtics in the past in terms of 3-point makes. And the Indiana Pacers are going to be without one of their key front court and wing players in Obi Toppin. So maybe Miles Turner sees a little bit more offensive usage as a result. But let's take a look at some information that I pulled up here on Miles Turner. He's at 1.5 3-point makes. We've got Outlier pulled up. In the games that Miles Turner has played this season, he's gone 16 of 29 in terms of hit rates, going over 1.5 3-point makes. And you can see that normally after a game where he kind of has a little bit of a letdown where he's only made 0 or 1 3-point makes, he usually comes back the next game and makes at least 2 or more. In fact, there's only been like 1 or 2 occasions this season where he's gone back-to-back games with less than 2 3-point makes. And that hasn't happened in quite some time. Actually got to go back to the end of November, the last time where he's had back-to-back games where he's gone under 2 3-point makes consecutively. But as you can see here, he only had 1 3-point make against OKC. That was yesterday. So hopefully he bounces back today and drains at least 2 threes against a Boston Celtics team that, as I mentioned, kind of struggled to defend the 3-point line against a guy like Joel Embiid. In terms of 3-pointers made to centers, they do rank 5th. So on paper, it's not the sexiest looking matchup, but head-to-head, Turner has had some success here against the Boston Celtics. The last 9 head-to-heads against the Boston Celtics, he's gone over 1.5 3-point makes in 5 out of 9 head-to-heads. More importantly, those away games where he's gone head-to-head against Boston, in other words, where he's played on the road against Boston, he's gone over in 3 out of 4 games, a 75% hit rate against the Celtics when playing on the Celtics home court. So things look even better here on the road against Boston for Miles Turner. Now, in terms of this being a positive expected value play, well, it definitely is, or else I wouldn't be talking about it and considering to play it here on PrizePicks. At 1.5 3-point makes, she's got about a 52.6% chance of going over. You're seeing some good juice coming in on these different sports books. Minus 132 betting favorite, over 1.5 3-point makes over on Pinnacle. Minus 125 over on FanDuel to go over. Minus 137 on Caesars to go over 1.5 3-point makes. So this could be a potentially sneaky bounce back spot. Now, if you want, you could also look at the points. The points are looking decent as well. He's at 13.5 points on PrizePicks. He's already at 14.5 on FanDuel. So this could be a good pivot play. If you don't trust him to make 2 threes, maybe you trust him a little bit more to get you at least 14 points tonight out there on PrizePicks. So let's look at some projections on Miles Turner. There's a number of different ways that you could play him. As I mentioned, the points are a good option. RotoWire says lean more on the points. So if you're considering the points, well, he is projected for about 15.1 points according to RotoWire. But we're looking for the 3-point makes, and the 3-point makes on RotoWire, they got him at 1.83 3-point makes. So that is a slight edge, slight projection over 1.5, closer to 2 than the 1 number, which is exactly what we were hoping to see. Let's go over here and check out Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs has Miles Turner at 1.6 3-point makes going up against the Celtics tonight. And last but not least, Shot Quality. Shot Quality's got Miles Turner up at 1.6, let's call it 1.6 3-point makes. So a slight edge or lean toward the over on the 1.5 3-point make line. So there you go. There's 4 different options for you on today's NBA slate. Happy Flex Friday to you guys out there. Are you liking these, hating these? Are you playing something that I maybe didn't get a chance to talk about or mention in today's video? Leave a comment down in the comment section below. I'm sure others would like to see what you guys are interested in playing as well. Good luck on all your picks, plays, and parlays, and we'll see you guys in the Discord if you are a Dub Club member. And if you're not a Dub Club member, check out the pinned comment down in the comment section below. Catch you on the next one. Peace.